I have Haley Gray with me. And I'm super geeked because of who Haley is. Haley is one of my friends. But why she's a superwoman to me is because she is amazingly supportive of women, people for sure. But she shows up for women like me. She's a person who believes in you when you don't believe in yourself. And we're going to kind of delve into that while we talk to Haley about who she is and all of that or whatever. But I definitely want to touch on that because her and I had an encounter where that was the exact situation or whatever. And thanks to Haley and a couple of people like her, we're having Superwoman Wednesday. And so, hi, Haley.
Hi, Ray. You're going to make me blush.
Yes, blush. People are going to think that you paid me to say all those things.
Right?
Not at all. Oh, you look gorgeous today. How are you?
Thank you. I'm doing well. How are you doing?
I'm super, super excited, but let's talk about you. Haley, I want to ask you what I'm going to ask every superwoman who comes and shares with this growing community. Who are you? Who is Haley? Because I have an idea and I could just spill off to all of these wonderful people who you are. Like,
Here I am. Hi, I'm me. I'm on before. My oldest has severe mental illness and a traumatic brain injury. So I have become a huge mental health advocate.
Yeah.
And, my business exists in no small part because of my experience with my daughter, which sounds a little funny, but I've literally spent the last 5 years managing my daughter's care and many, many hospitalizations, many situations that if I were to describe them, you probably wouldn't even believe me that it's real or real life or even possible. And the ability to manage her care, get her where she needs from a long-term care perspective, and be one of the very, very few patients with this level of mental illness, this type of mental illness, to actually get the resources that she needs and the funding and the placement into a group home that has very, very high levels of care. She has awake care 24/7, highest level of care outside of a hospital. And, my business exists in part because of that, because I needed the flexibility to be able to manage the crazy and the literal crazy, right? While, managing 3 younger children. And how do I make a living while I'm doing this? And a husband who definitely thought I was nuts.
Can I touch on that real quick? The husband that thought you were nuts.
Absolutely.
So I completely relate to, I can't say that I completely understand what you feel, what you think, and how you've persevered through what's going on with your daughter, because our situations are similar. And, our fight has been similar because my mother has mental health issues. And it has been like this lifelong battle. And being an adult, it's been very, very trying, very, very difficult to try to manage it all. And people who aren't a part of it, like they're not you. So they don't understand what it takes for you to continue to thrive. And as a woman, like you were saying, growing a business, because you didn't just start a business, but, growing your business and making all the types of executive decisions that you've made to expand and to help others, that's what helps you manage the crazy, even though it creates a crazy of its own. And no, people don't get it, but it's real.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah,
it's totally real.
Yeah. And then my daughter also, I can relate to it in the regards that my daughter, she's not special needs, but man, I'm gonna tell you, she required attention like she was.
I think they all do.
Yes, right. And because of that, it was the same thing. You know, I needed that flexibility so that I was available, right? Mm-hmm. And family and friends, they didn't understand my path because I wasn't surrounded by entrepreneurs. All of my family and my friends were employees. And so, you know, it was really, really rough, but it was because of her that this whole Superwoman thing exists. Because I had to overcome my mental health issues, my emotional health issues. I had to grow up. You know, I was still a teen when I had her. So we grew up together. I had to learn how to be a mom, all kinds of stuff. And so I relate. Mm-hmm. I can't say I fully understand because it's your experience, right?
Totally. And I mean, you know, when you have people around you that are in that job mindset, you know, my husband really wanted to know what in the world I was doing with a computer science degree, 20 some odd years of experience as a software engineer, and an MBA from Duke. And why in the world could I not get my head out of my rear end and go find a job?
Right.
And that continued, honestly, until I had bariatric surgery 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And I said, you know, I just need you to take care of all of the phone calls and the nurses and the doctors and the hospitalizations for 3 weeks. Mm-hmm. I can recover. Mm-hmm. So lo and behold, my daughter decided she was suicidal the day before I had surgery. So I'm on a liquid diet and I'm tired and I'm grumpy and I'm hungry and my daughter is flipping her mind again. Okay, no surprise because she did that like every week. And okay, mom, I'm suicidal again, you know, or whatever it was. Take her down to the emergency room. And of course, it being a psych unit, you don't get to stay with them. So it's basically check them in and drop her off and say, oh, by the way, this time you guys are not calling me. You're going to call dad. Mm-hmm. And I go and I leave her. The next morning, I get up, I have my surgery. I am recovering from surgery and my phone rings. And it's the hospital. Uh-huh. And I'm like, hold on just a minute. You need to talk to dad.
Talk to dad.
And I have to say that there was just a little tiny bit of satisfaction in this.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I knew where you were going with it.
Tiny bit. You know, I'm coming out of surgery, major surgery, and I hand dad the phone and I'm like, you deal with it. Yeah. So the next day I get another phone call from the hospital. Oh no, I'm sorry. I'm actually in the hospital right now, across town from you. So I can't deal with this. You need to talk to dad.
Dad, talk to dad.
23 calls to dad later, the same day. And, you know, all of this fun stuff. And 2.5 weeks later, of this nonstop calls from the emergency room and from the hospital and everything else, his entire perspective about our daughter's condition. Startlingly, shockingly changed.
Shockingly.
And we went from, when are you going to get a job, to, oh, maybe I was doing best I could with the resources I had, and things started to shift.
Amen. Lights, right?
Came on, the angels sang. I handed him the phone. It was beautiful.
I love it. And I love the fact that you got some satisfaction from it because you needed that, right? And it's sad, but I'm always talking to people about their relationships. And so it's just kind of like in relationships, I always say, it's not who's right, it's what's right. And sometimes people have to have their own personal encounter or experience, sadly, for them to get it. But the good news is that they get it, like, like it's kind of bittersweet because it takes some time for them to get it sometimes. But when they get it, then there's that, that cohesiveness and that, like, okay, I get it. Let's go. Let's handle this, that kind of thing. And now, voila, I have support.
Yeah.
But, I don't want us to run out of time, but this was so good. I want to ask you, so I was asking you, who are you? My other question is, Haley, what makes you a superwoman?
What makes me a superwoman? I would have to say it's I'm changing the world around me in no small amount.
Right.
In terms of small businesses and helping small businesses and surviving the situation with my daughter and keeping everybody alive and healthy has been huge. And then in becoming a mental health advocate and starting the conversation with the powers that be in my state and with my local governments, and helping really raise the visibility on the problems that we have from a mental health perspective, and how people end up homeless and and trafficked and all of those things, and understanding that my daughter is in the 1% that did not end up that way.
Right. But so many do, right?
But the other 99% do.
And other judgments, right? Because again, people not understanding, like, well, all they got to do is get a job. Well, for somebody, it's not that simple. Because it's that simple for you doesn't mean it's that simple. Yeah. And, I agree with you 100% about that making you a superwoman. And when people hear how you take on this and you take on this, you take on that or whatever, they tend to confuse being a superwoman with having superwoman syndrome. And the difference is when life is trying to kick your ass and just dumping stuff on you, situations and circumstances that you have no choice but to fight through, you have no choice but to show up for, then it's just kind of like, this isn't syndrome at all. This isn't an identity crisis. This is not me trying to assert myself as woman out here on these streets. This is real life. Like, this is stuff I'm dealing with. And so
this is keeping everybody alive. Like literally keeping people alive.
Literally. And so not all superwomen are business owners, but most of the superwomen I know are, because, you attract who you are. And so I've built a lot of relationships with business owners. Tell us about your business.
I'm a woman on a mission to help 1 million small business owners.
Word.
No joke. And I'm working on it. I'm making some strides there. And
you are
putting out resources and tools and information and teaching classes and helping small business owners with the information that they need to grow their businesses, to make money, to do well, to, make a living, because growth in our economy comes from small businesses. It doesn't come from the big mega corporations.
Tax, as we've seen with the whole tax situation.
So I have a couple of different pieces of my business. The first one is my digital marketing agency, which is called Fiercely Marketing. And we do all of the digital marketing tech stuff for small businesses. So whether it's building websites that convert and have SEO built into them so you get found on Google, doing ongoing search engine optimization, doing ads, social media management, doing kind of all of the digital marketing things. The other part of my business is my online entrepreneurs group. It's Women's Entrepreneur Network. And right now it's about 73,000 members. And, you know, we're putting out resources and tools and holding space for so many entrepreneurs to help them grow their businesses.
Really,
a platform and ways to grow it. And it's amazing.
You know, so that brings us full circle, because I was saying how Haley so kindly gives you that kick in the ass when you don't believe in yourself. And I was overcoming, it wasn't a confidence issue for me. I was, some of you know, I was in the sunken place for an extended period of time after the loss of my dad. And I didn't want to be out here on these streets. I didn't want to help Superwomen. I didn't want to be available. I didn't want to be accessible. I didn't want to show up, but because I thought I had to, because it's what people had come to expect from me, I kept trying to put myself out there, right? And Haley saw in me what at the time I couldn't see. And so she made me an offer. She said, Ray, I'm going to be doing this, I'm offering airtime on, you know, within our group, because I'm a part of Women's Entrepreneur Network and I love it. I'm offering airtime. I want you to purchase a package and I want you to get out here. And, you know, and she might have been thinking in her mind, I don't know, because she doesn't normally talk this way, but she was probably thinking, get this package, get your ass out here, stop hiding, and come help these women, because you've got so much to give to them. And so, like I said, you know, Haley played a very huge role in what I do today with Superwomen and growing this community and making that commitment to positively impact and influence these women. Because being an introvert, being an empath, like, I just didn't want to do it. I just didn't want to do it. But it was because of my commitment to Haley. Because when I first did it, I was just like, yeah, well, I'm just going to do this to support you, right?
Because I made you do it.
Yeah.
Made me do it.
I was just like, I'm just going to do this to support you. I don't really care about this, but, you know, I know that, you know, if people see a whole bunch of us out here with these packages, they're going to buy some packages. So that's the spirit of entrepreneurship for, you know, for us as women. We support each other. We put our money where our mouth is, because I had to pay her every month. And so, and I chose to do that because she's worthy of that. Like, when you hear what she says that she's doing, she's impacting people around the world, helping them with their businesses, affording all of these resources. And it's just kind of like, she's giving so much. How does she not give back? Why would we not give back? And so it was an honor, Haley, and a privilege to do that. And so because I did that, I started doing these videos, and I was committed to making these videos because I had to honor my word to her. And voila, I had no clue that it was going to spin out into this. But here we are, because I came out of hiding very reluctantly, but I did.
That's how it usually works. Yep.
Yeah, it's how it usually works. And so I really wanted to, I love what Haley does as a business owner. I love what she does for women. And unlike me, well, I mean, I kind of work with men too, but Haley doesn't just work with women. She works with people, period. And I wanted to, as we wrap this up, because Haley has an appointment and I've got to get out here before traffic gets crazy. I wanted to ask you, Haley, what would you leave the Superwoman with? Like, what would be a word of encouragement or inspiration for women? And she doesn't even have to be in business, just being a woman out here doing the damn thing. What would you say to her?
I think it's figure out what your dream is.
Yeah.
And go for it. And don't let anybody stand in your way.
Yeah.
It's amazing how once you start going after that dream, magic really starts to happen. I had a dream.
So true.
We've been through a few things.
Oh, for sure. Because along with the magic comes the bullshit, for sure.
Oh, yeah.
However,
plenty of it.
Focus on the magic because it's just kind of like that's what we aspire to. We don't really have any control over the bullshit that comes, but when we focus on the magic, it just repeats itself. It just repeats itself. It just keeps going and going and going. So tell us, Haley, where can we find you on these social media streets?
Find me in my Facebook group, Women's Entrepreneur Network. We have a website, women'sentrepreneur.org, on YouTube, Women's Entrepreneur Network. Do you see this trend here? You can find us on Instagram, Women's Entrepreneur Network. Or you can just look me up, Haley Lynn Gray. You can Google my name and you can find me on Facebook, on my websites. I'm all over the place.
You really are. You've really got your footprints all over these internet streets. And I love it. Right? And so listen, definitely, check out the Women's Entrepreneur Network. It's a great place for women to establish relationships. And also, come and check back with me. And just like Haley, Ray Share Solutions. You can find me on Instagram. You can find me on Facebook. You can find me on LinkedIn. You can find me on YouTube at Ray Shares Solutions. And come and check in. Come and check in and get in on the conversation, especially every Wednesday, because we're going to have some more goodness for you every Wednesday night. Thanks so much for tuning in, Superwoman. Bye for now. Bye.